Greetings fellow Decepticons, SoundBlaster1987 here with my monthly vlog from March of 2025. Today, to celebrate the guest appearance of Dani at the upcoming Sheffield Comic-Con 2025, I'll be going over the life of her most famous and beloved TV character, Tracy Beaker. For those who don't know, Tracy Beaker was originally a character from a Jacqueline Wilson novel, The Story of Tracy Beaker, and its various sequels and spin-offs. However, in 2002, the children's subsection of the BBC, CBBC, created a live-action TV adaptation of the series. It started out in 2002 to 2007 as The Story of Tracy Beaker, then returned in 2009 to 2012 as Tracy Beaker Returns. Then from 2013 onwards it became The Dumping Ground with a few other Tracy Beaker spin-offs and sequels here and there as well. So, not much is known about Tracy's early childhood in the CBBC adaptation, but we do see a few flashbacks to when she was younger from before her time in care in some of the early Season 1 episodes. Tracy was born to a movie stunt double called Carly Beaker and an unnamed father, although a man called Steve was seen playing with a very young Tracy in a flashback in the episode Dares, which could potentially have been her father, but it's never confirmed. So, because of Carly's life travelling around as a film stunt double, she couldn't really look after Tracy on her own all that well, so she ended up in a care home system, starting with Stowe House, the first of the multiple sites to be named the Dumping Ground by the kids and staff alike. The Dumping Ground is basically a nickname for the care home for the Tracy Beaker franchise, where kids mostly arrive there after being dumped either by their biological parents not looking after them properly, or a failed fostering attempt from previous residents who have ended up returning, as is often the case with Tracy and Justine and other such residents of the Dumping Ground. Due to her circumstances and the constant turnover of foster families and other such things, Tracy ended up with a lot of trust issues and anger problems growing up, which also led to her lashing out with prankster-type behaviour, such as flower bombing people from the top of the stairs and that kind of thing. This, in turn, was what inspired some of the younger residents, specifically Haley, Dolly and Marco, in Season 2 to form the Beaker Club, a group of younger Dumping Ground residents that took some of Tracy's pranks as a role model inspiration and started dressing up like her, including wearing similar coloured outfits and reenacting some of her most famous stunts like eating a worm and flower bombing people and such. But I'll get into that and Tracy's relationship with the other Dumping Ground residents more later on and in separate videos as well. So, Tracy was around 10 years old or thereabouts in the first season of the TV show, much like she was in the original storybook. And no matter how things change in the Dumping Ground, one thing is always going to be the same. Tracy's arch nemesis, Justine Littlewood. Justine and Tracy have been at each other's throats for years, and this rivalry has continued even to this day with the My Mom Tracy Beaker miniseries and the Beaker Girls sequel that came from it, as well as Tracy's multiple returns to the Dumping Ground in one form or another in her later teenage and adult life, from a Tracy Beaker Returns series, the Dumping Ground, etc. I'll go into more detail on that in a separate video, but for now, this is about the main character, Tracy Beaker herself. So, toward the end of Season 1, Tracy's future adoptive/foster mother, Camilla Cam Lawson, a aspiring writer, ended up meeting Tracy and starting to bond with her and grow their relationship over time, although it wouldn't be until the end of the feature-length film, Tracy Beaker, The Movie of Me, that takes place sort of halfway between Seasons 2 and 3, where they'd actually start developing a proper relationship with each other, which would last to this day actually, because of Cam's appearance in the Beaker Girls and the My Mom Tracy Beaker series, which again I'll come back to later. So, by the time the original series ended in 2007, Tracy was around 14-15 years old, which means she would have been about 17 when she started working as a student care worker in the dumping ground in the Tracy Beaker Returns series in 2009. Because she ended up having to get a job to pay Cam back for the money she stole to publish her autobiography about growing up in the care system. And when she was arrested for having stolen the money to publish the book, she ended up meeting, a current dumping ground resident, Liam, at the police station, who had been arrested due to a laundry scam that he was running when he ran away from his foster family. I'll get into things with the Tracy Beaker Returns cast more in a separate video down the line, but basically, when Liam was picked up from the police station by a member of staff from the dumping ground, it just so happened to be head care worker Mike Milligan, who Tracy was familiar with from growing up because he was the head care worker at multiple previous sites of the dumping ground while she was growing up there. Because like I say, the dumping ground has changed locations a lot over the years. For the first 3 seasons of the original Tracy Beaker series from 2002, it was called Story House, under the management of a woman called Jenny, with help from Shelley Appleton, a student care worker called Nathan, Duke the chef, and of course Mike, with the interference of Elaine the paid Boyack, the social worker here and there. Then in season 4, a new member of staff called Sid oversaw the move to Cliffside House and the arrival of the troublemaking Wellard siblings, who I'll cover in a separate video. Then in season 5, Shelley and Mike took over again as they moved to the first version of Elm Tree House, the second Elm Tree House being the location where Tracy Beaker Returns of the first half of the Dumping Ground series took place. Then around season 4 of the Dumping Ground they moved to Ashdean Ridge. Then I think in one of the later seasons they had a second Ashdean Ridge at some point that they moved to, presumably to expand the number of available bedrooms from an increased number of residents in the place. So, like I say, Tracy made a couple of cameo appearances in the season 6 and 13 of the Dumping Ground after leaving the original series, after Tracy Beaker returned season 3 in 2012. There was also the, Children in Need Parties with Pudsey special around 2007 after season 5 ended, which was the last appearance of most of the original cast. Tracy shares a birthday with former Dumping Ground resident Peter Ingham, who also returned to help co-run the Dumping Ground charity shop in Cooksey in the Tracy Beaker Returns sequel series, My Mom Tracy Beaker and the Beaker Girls series, which I'll cover again in another video. Other close friends of Tracy in the Dumping Ground were Louise, who ended up hanging out with Justine more after Tracy's absence at the start of season 1, which drove the two apart because of Tracy's hatred of Justine. The Plakova brothers, Bouncer and Lol, who ended up basically being, mentors to some of the younger residents. Bouncer in particular bonding with Layla, Haley, Marco and some of the younger residents throughout the series. Then in season 2, Liam Crash Daniels and aspiring long-range runner Jackie Hopper turned up, and they became Tracy's best friends for the remainder of the original series, despite the occasional argument that flares up between them. I'll get into Tracy's relationship with other characters in a separate video because I'll be covering the actual Tracy Beaker original series later on as a separate video. So, like I say, in 2009 Tracy returned to the Dumping Ground, now as a member of staff, using her past experience to solve some of the new Dumping Ground residents' problems in insightful and innovative ways that Mike and the other members of staff of the Dumping Ground didn't expect. And sometime after the events of Tracy Beaker Returns, but before her season 6 cameo in the Dumping Ground, Tracy met a guy called Cy Martin and had a daughter with him, Jessica Bluebell Camilla Beaker, Jess for short, who would be the other main character of the My Mom Tracy Beaker and the Beaker Girls spin-off series. Again, I'll go into the sequel series in separate videos, but basically, Tracy moved to Cooksey with Jess after breaking up with Cy Martin, and they ended up living together in a flat above the Dumping Ground charity shop, helping the elderly owner Flo run the place for most of the series. After Tracy got fired from a waitress job in a cafe for being too clumsy on the job and being late to work and such like, a trend she continued from the Tracy Beaker Returns series. So, as of the time of this recording, the Tracy Beaker character is still set to continue appearing in one way or another, because Jacqueline Wilson has just recently announced more Tracy Beaker content coming up for future adaptations by CBBC. So, with that said, I've been SoundBlaster1987. Thanks again for watching this video, and a huge thank you to Dani for giving us, at the time of this recording, 23 plus years of Tracy Beaker over the years, and long may her success continue over the years. And Dani, if you're watching this, thank you once again for popping up at Sheffield Comic Con. It was a pleasure to meet you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for next time, when I'll be doing my first ever TV show live action review, where I'll be covering the original 2002 to 2007 The Story of Tracy Beaker series in more detail. Till then, till all are one.